Over on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Nashville.
The suit is in the building.
Acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And a good Thursday, everybody. Welcome in. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Nick Frazier with us as well from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Say that 3 times fast. Hope you're having an awesome start to your day. Got a great show planned for you. Chris Sanders is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, usually on Fridays. But you know what? I'm just letting everybody know I'm making the executive decision. I'm taking tomorrow off. So Junie Riddle and Joe Dubin will be in for me tomorrow. So Chris going to join today. Big Joe actually going to come on at 10:30. Going to preview a little high school football with him and talk about MTSU, as he's the color analyst for MTSU, and he'll be at practice. And then we mix in wrestling, and there's a couple of people that'll probably text back in and be like, nobody cares about it, even though they do. So that's why we're talking about it. Kyle Davis from the NWA is going to join us as they'll be in town coming up Monday and Tuesday, so we'll get more on that. Enjoyed our interview yesterday with Billy Corgan. I've had a lot of people reach out and say how cool that was. And I was talking to some people from our sister station, 102.9 The Buzz. You know, we have a rock station, and they were like, well, I mean, did you talk Pumpkins? And I said, no, not a whole lot. It was really about wrestling, but he did make some comparisons between, music and wrestling, which was really cool. So definitely fun. Nick, how you doing?
We are going today, Chase. Woke up around a good 4:30 and had some coffee, and I'm rocking and rolling today.
Wow, I was going to bed around then, so that's just kidding. I was out last night. I actually slept well, and that usually that's not always the case. When you're the suit and you have a lot going on, it's not always the case. But that was good. Well, you're an early bird, and the early bird gets the worm. So good on you. Titans getting ready for their final preseason game tomorrow. It's at Nissan Stadium. I've been so used to these road games that it just I was like, I drove by the stadium the other day and I go, oh yeah, they're going to play there Friday. That'll be cool to get everybody back at Nissan Stadium. But the question is, who all are we going to see? Are we going to see some of the starters play? Is it going to be mainly these guys that are fighting for a roster spot and trying to make that 53? Because, there's no more going from 90 to 85 to 75 or whatever. They're going to go 90 or 91, whatever it is now, to 53 that they will do next week. And so obviously a difficult decision for the coaches, Mike Vrabel, and obviously for Rand Carthon too. But you got to show out in this last preseason game. But the question will be, will we see Ryan Tannehill? And I've made my case that I think he should get a series or two. He was asked yesterday, Ryan Tannehill was asked yesterday, do you need a series or are you good to go?
You feel the need to do you need a series Friday night, or with your experience having been here all off season, are you good if you don't get on the field during the game Friday night, considering the opener is 2 weeks away?
Yeah, I'm good either way. Excited and happy with how things have progressed for us as an offense over the course of spring and training camp. Guys are coming out and grinding away. Obviously, it's not 100% yet, but we're building each and every day and learning from something each and every day. And whatever Coach Vrabel decides for Friday, I'll be good with.
And that's kind of how I thought he would answer a question like that. Of, hey, I'm good. Whatever you guys decide, I'm ready to go. But I mean, let's factor in a few things. It's a new offense with Tim Kelly. You got a new offensive line. and he missed the entire last month of the season. So, you know, and you know what? A texter just texted this in, and this is a great question and another reason why I think he should get a series or two. Chris on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Did the Titans change the turf? It was talked about last year. Is it still grass? No, it is turf. They have installed turf. So this will be the first game on the new turf at Nissan Stadium. And maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of that than it is, but I think if Tannehill just got one series just to, feel what it's like. I don't know how much he's been on it. They've obviously practiced on something similar in the bubble over at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, but I'm just going to keep finding reasons why he needs to play. And it's a mixed bag. It depends on who you ask. That some people say yes, some people. Nick, you're kind of in the no crowd, right?
Yeah, I'm in the bit of a no crowd. But listening to you, I'm not changing my answer at all. But you make a valid point, Chase, due to the fact that even Tim Hasselbeck said, it's okay to have your starters get a couple reps.
Yeah, I mean, if Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing and Rodgers wasn't playing, those are the two big ones, then I could sit here and go, okay, yeah, I know, I get it. I know why he's not. Vrabel was asked yesterday, Teresa asked the question of, do you want to see Ryan play some?
Mike, with the preseason finale and then essentially a 2-week gap before the opener, do you want to see Ryan take a series on Friday, or do you balance that with maybe needing to see some more of Will Levis with him back at practice?
We'll kind of work through some of that, and we'll see what it looks like here with Ryan. See, get him behind that offensive line. So I, haven't made a final determination, but that's a possibility.
So when I listened to that clip, I kind of thought, he might actually be considering it. That it could potentially happen. And if you go into is it Vrabel and Tim Kelly and Charles London and then Ryan Tannehill in a room, and it's like, hey, Ryan, what do you think? Hey, whatever you guys want to do, I'm cool with. Well, we're cool with whatever you want to do. I mean, is somebody going to make the decision, or how is that conversation? I mean, I would assume it would be Vrabel that will eventually go, oh, yay or nay. But it does sound like he's actually giving it some thought that, maybe he does put him out there for a series or two. A series, is probably what it would be. So I'm curious, and we won't know until tomorrow, when the news will trickle out that, it is or isn't happening. Now, I think a lot of it also depends on if Will Levis can go or not. If Will Levis can play and, there's hope that he can play, but it's not definitive on whether he can or he can't. But if Levis can play, then, there is a possibility we see all three quarterbacks tomorrow. And I would be curious of how Mike Vrabel would balance that, give Ryan the first series, and then do you put Levis in first since he's missed so much time, or do you keep it kind of in order? But I'd be very curious for that. Ryan Tannehill went on to discuss how he's feeling when it comes to being ready for Week 1.
Ryan, you missed the last month of the season last year. Some frustrations with not getting to play football, and then preseason you're on the sideline as well. So how ready are you to put the pads back on and play Week 1?
Yeah, I'm excited. I get to play. I mean, we're not tackling, but I get to play every day at practice. So I don't feel like I'm sitting on the couch like I was the last month of the season. So a little bit different feeling, but excited to keep pressing forward. We still got a couple weeks before Week 1. Whether I play this weekend or not, we'll find out. But want to just keep taking advantage of the opportunities we have on the practice field as we move forward here, getting ready for Week 1.
Ryan Tannehill yesterday talking to the media. So going to be interesting to see. Let's go ahead and just make our predictions now. Nick, do you think he plays?
No, I do not.
You say no. All right. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he doesn't. I'm going to say that they're kind of making us think about it, that, he might actually play, and then he's not going to.
I will say this, though, Chase. If Will Levis is not able to go, I do believe the probability of Ryan Tannehill strapping it up for a series is likely.
It goes up.
Yeah, I would
agree.
put it at around 65, 70%. I know that seems a bit high, but that's where I'm sitting it at.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. If Levis can't go, does that change the odds a little bit on Ryan Tannehill playing? I think that's a very good point that you make there. But we're not gonna, like I said, we're not gonna know. Vrabel's not gonna. That's the last time we'll hear from Vrabel or anybody until after the game on Friday. So they'll do some walkthroughs and things today. Today is kind of like a Saturday on a normal game week, is how you would treat it, and then kind of go from there. But I'll be very curious. Again, we'll ask you, do you think Ryan Tannehill should take a series? 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can weigh in at any time that you want to. We will have Chris Sanders will get his thoughts at the bottom of the hour when he joins us, Forever Titans wide receiver. But you heard Mike Vrabel mention getting Tannehill behind that offensive line. Do we feel that this offensive line is ready to go? What do we need to see out of them Friday night? Several people made comments on the offensive line yesterday. We'll discuss that coming up next. Tune into 102.5 and 106.3 The Game this Saturday for the return of Vanderbilt football, as the Commodores will kick off at 6:30 at home against Hawaii, with pregame coverage beginning at 5 o'clock. You can hear all the coverage on 102.5 The Game, the app, and at thegamenashville.com.
Are you always on the go? We've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad.
It's Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace.
Dominic Cavity.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Baseball fans, your home for the best baseball action is 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan, with the ESPN Game of the Week and the Nashville Sounds. It's all brought to you by Superbook Sports, the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download the Superbook app today.
Now through Labor Day, get fantastic deals at Electronic Express. Get a 65-inch TCL 4K Roku TV, only $349, or an HP Chromebook for just $249. Electronic Express has huge savings on computers, appliances, 4K TVs, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an Avanti laundry pair, just $379 each, or a Ring Video doorbell for only $69. Plus, get up to 5 years special financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
for the first time in 25 years. The Doobie Brothers. Tom Johnston, Michael McDonald, Pat Simmons, and John McPhee. 50th Anniversary Tour. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, the Doobie Brothers. This Thursday at First Bank Amphitheater, Franklin. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. Part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Chase McCabe is on.
I am not that guy you think I was.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Offensive line over the course of this past month or so. What's your perception on how that group's come together, both the starters and the backup guys?
I think everybody's working. Everybody's been, stringing some days together, and I think the conditioning is good. When you look at the way we finished the game in Minnesota, pushing piles, being more physical, and being able to run the football and control it with the, in the second half. We'll always continue to make sure that, there's edge rushers in this league that you're going to have to be able to block, and so we have to make sure that that's where people are investing resources and money, and so we'll have to make sure that we're doing everything we can to block those guys.
Mike Vrabel on the Titans O-line and how far it has come. Welcome back in. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, 615-737-1025. One quick point from Chris in Clarksville on our text line on Ryan Tannehill. I think they'll play Ryan as it's the only preseason game at home. Got to let the hometown see the starters in person. I understand your point with that, and I like that. I want to think that, but I don't think they look at it that way, and I don't think they should look at it that way. I mean, I get it. It is at home, and so maybe it is a safer situation to do that and play him at home, but I think right now what the Titans have to be focused on is their evaluation of, do they think that the starting quarterback that's coming off an injury, that's playing behind an entirely new offensive line, is ready? And have they seen enough out of him in practice? Does he feel comfortable enough in practice with this offense? Because, I mean, even if he plays, he's probably not going to play with DeAndre Hopkins or Derrick Henry. I wouldn't think so. But it gives him an opportunity to get a couple of game reps with, the guys that are going to be that receiver number 2, potentially for week 1, whether it's a Nick Westbrook-Akina, a Chris Moore, someone like that. So, that's how they're looking at it. And that's how they should look at it. It's all about evaluation. And so, again, we'll find out tomorrow if that is going to be the case. But the offensive line, and I think that factors into thing, is this offensive line ready to go? Now, I think one of the biggest things that has worked in the favor of the offensive line is they've had to go up against this Titans defensive front each and every day in practice. It's one of the best. Nick Frazier believes it's going to be top 5 in the league. In every category, the defense will be. And so the fact that they're going up against Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry and Harold Landry and Arden Key, every day, in Tier Tart, every day in practice, I think is a huge benefit for them and can only help them get better. Ryan Tannehill was asked yesterday on what he's seen from the growth of the offensive line.
What have you seen growth-wise in it, and just what they've been able to do in front of you with the chemistry they've been building in training camp?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of growth, and just the way those guys are playing, I think, over the past week and a half or so, really seen them feel like they've taken a step in the right direction, coming off the football, playing physical, understanding what we're trying to accomplish and how we're doing it. We're doing a lot at this point, and those guys are now seemingly in tune with what we're trying to do and the nuances of the different schemes we're running. So excited for the step that they've taken, and just have to keep the foot on the gas.
Keep the foot on the gas. That's exactly what they are doing right now. But, Nick, as you've watched this offensive line, you've heard about this offensive line, as it has grown. I feel like all of us said that Andre Dillard was the one that we were maybe concerned's the wrong word, but the most intrigued by, because it's left tackle. It's it's probably the second most important position on the offensive line, the center being the first, because of the exchange of the snap between the quarterback and the center. As you look at it now, is that still the case, or what stands out to you with the O-line?
I think it kind of is still the same situation with Dillard being the left tackle and being the big concern due to the fact that Skaronski's in the middle of the line. And I think that's kind of more of the anchor point of this Titans offensive line, is just the middle part is just it's anchored down, nothing to worry about. Now the left tackle, I don't want to say it's number 2. I'd say it's number 1 for sure.
Yeah. It's funny. So I checked out the new Madden, and that obviously can't tell us anything that is going to happen in real life. But I laughed because I played with the Titans, and the Titans as currently constructed, and the offensive line, I made the starting offensive line as it will be in week 1. And first play from scrimmage, Tannehill drops back, and pass rusher just blows through the left side of the line and sacks him. And I just immediately go, well, son of a bee sting. This is. I'm like, I hope that they always say if it's in the game, it's in the game. I hope that is not the truth with this offensive line.
There's some
week 1.
There's some merit to Madden ratings. They have a bunch of people that go out to these practices, joint practices, and actually grade the players. So those ratings to the Titans offensive line are probably accurate. That's the thing, is that games in today's day and age, their simulation factor and whatever it may be, they're pretty accurate. So, what you saw on the screen may not be too far off what you see in real life.
I know, but I hope that's not the case. I hope it's improved. But I mentioned going up against that Titans defensive front. Jeffrey Simmons was asked about that when he did his media availability of what he has seen from his eyes on the improved offensive line.
Going out there and every day against the offensive line, you guys have won your share of battles. How much do you feel like those guys on the other side of the ball have improved going against y'all?
A lot. I even stood out there when I was talking to Peter yesterday. I could tell how much he has gotten better from day one when he got here. I got a couple of reps in OTAs. He's a guy that I know. We expect a lot of, especially our team, and they drafted him as our first-round pick for a reason, and he have shown that. He have got better. He got a lot of good work from me and Danico. Even guys like Tartnum have gave him a lot of work. And just everybody else, we got some vets across there, especially with Brewer and, Brunskill, guys like that inside. I'm excited because when you at practice like that and, maybe Brunskill, he's an older guy, a veteran. We like today. We just talking about, all right, when you do such and such to me, like if you bull me to this and that, this hard for our offensive lineman, or I come to him and be like, this is what you need to see especially when guys run a game. You see this. It's just being able to communicate them things and compete with each other. This is one of the things that we always say, the game of football, iron sharper iron. And I'm excited to have them type of guys. And even with Brew, he's real feisty at that center position. Being able to go against him, interior guys I have saw so much an improvement in our offensive linemen. Like I said, I'm excited to see them this year as well.
That was Jeffrey Simmons talking about the offensive line. And, that he's going to bring it every day, and he's going to give his best every day to try and help himself not only get better, but also that offensive line get better. And as I, started this conversation off with, it can only be a benefit to go up against that defensive front. And then when you do face either some of the best in the league or some of the worst in the league, you've been going up against the best, so you're battle tested. And I know that it's practice, but these pads are popping. They're hitting each other. They're not holding back, and it's hot, and it gets chippy at times. And Jeffrey Simmons is a guy we've talked about that he gets passionate. He brings the juice. And, you saw Jamarco Jones get kicked off the team because he couldn't keep it together, going up against a guy like Jeffrey Simmons. And so I think these guys are gonna feel like, hey, going 6 weeks going up against the Simmons and this group is really going to be a benefit to us. when they kicked the ball off week 1 against the Saints. So do I feel like that this is going to be, statistically the best offensive line in the league? Absolutely not. I don't know what to expect, and I think that's going to continue to be my answer on it until we actually get to the regular season and see some games. And it may take a game or 2 or 3, to actually see what they bring. But I think the work's been put in. I have no doubt when Vrabel says everybody's working, that has certainly been the case. And now we kind of get to see it all come to fruition, and maybe they'll get a chance with Ryan Tannehill tomorrow. I don't expect Derrick Henry, but hey, you never know, tomorrow at Nissan Stadium for the final preseason game. Coming up next, we'll get Chris Sanders, forever Titans wide receiver, his thoughts on the final preseason game and what he would do, what he wants to see out of the starters. If anything, we'll do that coming up next here on the Chase McCabe Show. Nashville Sounds baseball back in action today at 6:05 on 94.9 The Fan, pregame at 5:50. The Sounds will take on the Gwinnett Stripers. They are the AAA affiliate of the National League East leading Atlanta Braves. Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan is presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Chris Sanders next, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Sometimes it's good to be loud.
This is the NFL.
Especially when you're Jared Stillman.
That's where we are.
He's not afraid to say what's on his mind each and every day.
That was embarrassing. I don't care if you're a rookie. That was embarrassing.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Folks, I went into a PhD weight loss program with a goal losing 38 pounds, lost 39. And, I might take it to 40, but the thing I know is that I'm going to keep the weight off. Hey, it's Joe Rexroth here. I want to tell you about PhD. It's a great plan for losing weight, great plan for maintenance. The food items are delicious. They give you up to 85% of your food. There's no pills. There's no gimmicks. And it feels sustainable, right? That's a huge thing for people who want to lose weight. Can you keep it off? Can you keep going with it? Everyone has a plateau. Every program has one. You kind of get to a certain point, you lose interest, you move on to something else. This program busts the plateau. It's constant care. It's a program that's tweaked for you. You're coached weekly, and my coach Rachel was fantastic, motivating me, telling me what's going on with my body, and changing the program as I needed it to change to make it perfect for me. It's simple and easy, and there's a guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight at the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Join me now. You won't regret it. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. Yum, yum, have some fun. Share with the ones you love. Don't you want to roll?
At O'Charlie's, we thought you'd enjoy a little country rock and rolls. The warm, buttery, delicious kind. Served free with every meal. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some fun. Charlie's, born in Nashville, and it shows.
We're rolling out store-wide savings this Labor Day at the Home Depot. Like up to $15 off Scott's Winter Guard Turf Builder. Because long weekends are all about getting outside, putting down roots for the fall, and feeding a lawn you can enjoy all year round. Shop Labor Day savings at the Home Depot and get up to $15 off Scott's Winter Guard Turf Builder. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and you could snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than now to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to be better than people think this year. That's the way I would go with it, but you take it any way you want to take it. All you got to do, visit FanDuel.com/Rob and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. You can see full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Oh, O'Reilly.
Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the right Superstart battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, do you need to listen on the go? Download the Game Nashville app from your app store today, and you can listen to us anywhere in the world. It's that simple. What an age we live in.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Sometimes see you pass outside my door. Hello.
You hear that,
Is it me
and you know Lionel Richie means Chris Sanders, Forever Titans wide receiver, joining us now on the program, usually every Friday at 9:30, but nice enough to do today. And also, this is the perfect time to tell you he's the award-winning Chris Sanders, and Silly Underdog Picks is back next week. A week from today at noon, we will make our first picks. It will be Chris Sanders. It will be yours truly, Chase McCabe, Caroline Fenton, Derek Mason.
Oh, Caroline, let's go.
The Commissioner Willie Donick, Kelly Holcomb, and George Plaster. So excited to have that back. You can make your picks for week 0 at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. It gets underway this weekend. Silly Underdog Picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and by Superbook Sports. Chris, good morning. How are you, my friend?
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Before we get started, man, first of all, I just want to say thank you for trusting me to let me come in here and be a part of this, this 102.5 family. I want to thank you. I want to thank, Robbie, Rex Rowe, Caroline, D-Mace, Willie, and even Jared Stillman. I love that guy also. But just thank you for letting me be a part of this family and invest in you guys. And it's just a joy every week to come on and talk to you, and also just to beat you in City Dog Underpicks also.
Well, we enjoy having you, Chris.
Thank you, my friend.
It is always fun. I know this kind of sounds like a broken record, but sure. I mean, it is something to ask. With tomorrow being the final preseason game, it is at Nissan Stadium. Would you like to see Ryan Tannehill get a series?
1,000%. I mean, we want to see what he can do. I mean, everybody knows what he can do. I know he's a proven veteran. I know he can do some things, but I want to see how he works with the whole group, not just on 7-7, not just on 9-on-7. I want to see what he does with Hopkins in the game, because you got to think about it too. There's a lot of new pieces on this offense. You got Brunskill, you got Skoronski, you got Dillon, you got a lot of guys that haven't played together. Then you got Hopkins as a wide receiver, and then another wide receiver, Chris Moore. You have a lot of guys that haven't played together. So I want to see what these guys can do in a game-type situation. I know they had the scrimmage with Minnesota, and I know they had some practice of scrimmaging, but I want to see what these guys do with a collective guys, working together in an actual game.
How much do you factor in for Tannehill specifically that he missed the entire last month of the season? Right. He's got a brand new offensive line, and this can kind of be for the whole team. They've put new turf down at Nissan Stadium that, yes, he's practiced on something similar in the bubble, but he hasn't played on that surface yet. How much do you put all that into your consideration?
I mean, you have to, because the thing about it is you made a couple of great points. The offensive line. I mean, these guys really don't know each other because they came from different situations. Brunskill came from the 49ers. Dillard came from he came from the Philadelphia Eagles. All those things that you have to put together. And then now you just made another good point about the turf. You got to get a feel on how it feels, because every surface is actually different. You got the situation with at the facilities to where the turf is different from the field at the stadium. So those are the things that you got to take in consideration, and those are the things that you're going to make you a great team, because you're paying attention to details.
Chris Sanders is with us, Forever Titans wide receiver. We know Traylon Burks is out injured. Kyle Phillips is out injured. They both could potentially miss week 1. Phillips is going to miss week 1.
Right.
Burks could miss week 1. And so that means there are spots up for grabs in the wide receiver room. Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins is a lock for sure. Yeah. Chris Moore, I would say Nick Westbrook-Akine at this point.
I don't know. You're
going to still say you don't know?
I mean that's because there's a lot of, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. There's a lot of great wide receivers, and you know, a lot of guys. There's a cat that we're really not talking about is Jackson. Jackson's a good.
Kyrus Jackson, yeah.
Kyrus Jackson. He's a guy that's a great returner. I know he's not getting a lot of pub about playing wide receiver, but he's a guy that can play special teams and also play a little bit of wide receiver. So even though we may think that a lot of those guys are safe, but it's all bunched up. But you better believe when they're going against, when they're going in this scrimmage this week, a lot of guys are up for audition. You got Colton Dow, you got Reggie Roberson, you got Treshawn Harrison has been playing outstanding. You got Mason Kinsey that's consistently been good in camp. So there's a lot of guys that are there. But which guy's going to step up and make the team and contribute to this offense?
Well, you bring up Mason Kinsey specifically, Chris, because I think everybody kind of thought, well, if if Phillips goes down,
right,
then Kinsey is the guy. If Kyle Phillips goes down, then Kinsey is the guy. Well, they didn't really do that last year. I mean, he was still in the practice squad. He got called up a couple times. He hasn't really done anything in the National Football League as of yet, but I've been impressed with him. I can tell he's gotten a little bit bigger.
Yep.
He's more confident. So is this his opportunity, because he can also be a return guy as well, to make this team, at least for week one, and show what he can do?
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about opportunity. I mean, each year we talk about Mason Kinsey, and he never goes away. Sometimes he get cut and he come back and he can make some plays. But just like what you said, it's a perfect opportunity to showcase his ability. Because if you look at last year in one of the preseason games, he caught like about 6 or 7 balls in one preseason game, but it's got to translate into the actual game. So, I think that this can really help him. And also, if he plays so well, and if he plays with Tannehill or Willis or Levis, and those quarterbacks trust him, and if those quarterbacks can trust him, you don't think the coaches are going to trust him to actually go out and make plays. So even though he might be a little, close to last on the depth chart, he can make his way up high if he has a good display in this scrimmage this week.
When you were playing, how much did you notice if Les Steckel would call more? And I know the offense was different, obviously, than what Tim Kelly is running here, but did you notice if he was evaluating a certain position, like in this instance, Tim Kelly's looking at the receiver group, is he going to call more passes because he wants to see what these guys can do?
Yeah, he just wants to see if guys can make plays, and I'm going to give you a perfect example. Les Steckel was my receiver coach in 1995, and before our last preseason game, he said this. He said, Chris, the coaches are still not sure if you can become the starter for the Houston Oilers. And he said this. He said, I'm going to put you in position to go out there and make a play, to show them that they can trust you, to show them that you can be in the right position. And I'm going to set it up like this for you. It was 4th and 23.
Whoa.
4th and 23. What does Coach do? Coach Les Steckel, he's a receiver coach, and he called Jim Rome, who was an offensive coordinator at the time. He said, I want Chris to get the ball. And this is what he did. It was 4th and 23. I ran a curl route. I caught the ball. I spun out, and I ran for 30 yards and dived for the first down. On the sidelines, the defense was going crazy. On the sidelines, everybody went bananas. So that specific play allowed me to be the third wide receiver and then eventually start the third game of the season. That's why it's so important for this preseason game.
Wow. That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's why you are forever Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders.
I appreciate you, man.
Because of that. The running back room, this is how I have it right now. Henry, obviously, Tajay Spears, Julius Chestnut, and then Hassan Haskins. That's the 4 I would have. Whether they keep 4, I don't know.
I think Haskins is gone. I mean, okay, just to kind of pose a question of kind of what we're talking about in these running backs, what does Haskins bring that the other guys can't do?
Yeah, I mean it's a fair question.
It's what does he do? I mean, he's not a fast guy. Chestnut is fast. He's got great speed. Tajay Spears is a flat-out burner. And both of those guys can play special teams. And I'm not disrespecting Haskins. I'm just talking about the numbers and what these guys can do. Tajay Spears got explosive speed. He can play in the backfield, but also he can play any other special teams that you need him. Then you got Chestnut that can be a punt returner, but also be a kickoff returner and also play in the backfield if one of those guys go down. Now you got Haskins. I know Haskins played a little bit of special teams, but he doesn't really oppose the threat that these other two cats do. So, in my opinion, I know the orders that you said was absolutely correct, but I think that Haskins is probably going to be the odd man out.
Well, because the other part of this is I think we know they're keeping 3 quarterbacks.
Right.
So that takes a spot from somewhere else. They're going to have to carry more receivers because even though Burks and Phillips are going to be hurt, they're not going to want to put them on IR or PUP because if you put them on IR before the season starts, you lose them for the year, and PUP, you would lose them for 6 weeks, and they're not going to be out for that long. So they're going to take up 2 roster spots. You're going to have at least 4 healthy receivers. So you're looking at 6, maybe 7 at that point. And then with the tight end group, I kind of wonder, do you carry 4 tight ends because one of them's got to act as a fullback?
Yeah, I mean, but it also depends on what the Tennessee Titans and the identity of their offense. I mean, how many tight ends do they want to keep? If they go a lot of 12 personnel, that's 1 back and 2 tights. Yeah, you want to keep 4 guys because you want to make sure you have healthy 4 wide receivers. So it all depends on what Tim Kelly and the direction he wants to go in this offense. But I'm gonna tell you something, Chase. A lot of these decisions that we're talking about, it's going to be hard because you're going to lose some good players. But at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to numbers and also who can help the team in multiple spots.
Could you see some sets this year where Henry lines up in the fullback spot? You have 2 backs, so you would have Spears and Henry on the field at the same time?
I don't know, but I would go, in my opinion, I would go more 20 personnel. I wouldn't put him in a fullback.
Just put him.
Yeah, you put him on beside, like offset to the left or offset to the right, and then you have Spears on the right or left also, kind of like an offset. I just wouldn't put him in fullback because you sit him in the A-gap, but he gets hit in the nose and he gets hurt. I don't think you want to do that, but I think that you can definitely see, him and Spears in the backfield at the same time of 20 personnel. That's 2 backs, 0 tight ends, and 3 wide receivers. So it can happen. I think that Tim Kelly's going to have a lot of guys that can actually make some plays. I'm gonna just give you a lineup of what we could possibly see, Chase. And this is going to get you excited.
All right.
Just imagine in a 20 personnel, or let's say 20 personnel, you got Derrick Henry in the backfield. You got Tajay Spears in the backfield. You got Hopkins out there. You got Traylon Burks, and you have NWI or Kyle Phillips. That's a scary situation right there. Wow.
I like it.
Wow.
I like it. Now, I am going to use one of your phrases when I ask this question.
Sure.
What in the Sam Lee Hill is going on with the kicking position in the Tennessee Titans?
I don't know, man. I think we need to call Al Del Greco back. I mean, we got to get him back or something because I don't know, but I think that, we don't need to have this same situation happen last year. We like, we'll get a kicker and we'll get him in here. Look at what happened in the first game. If the Tennessee Titans had a quality kicker at that time, I don't think the Tennessee Titans lose to the Giants because.
And then they make the playoffs.
And then they make the playoffs. No, that is crazy. But I think that with the games being so close, Chase, the game's been nail biters. You got to have a reliable kicker to say, you know what? If it's 50 plus, I can guarantee that guy. If it's 40 plus, I don't care. We need a guy that's consistently making them. I don't need a cat that's going to make 7 out of 10. Me and you can do that. And I got a bad foot. Me and you can do that. But we got to have a guy that's consistent. And I just think the Tennessee Titans need to make sure that they find somebody. I don't know if Bagley's going to do it. I don't know if whoever's going to do it, but they got to make sure. I know it, but see, we're in a situation every year. We talk about the kicker or we talk about offensive line. We got to get away from that and make sure that we get the right kicker there. Because I'm gonna tell you something with our schedule this year. I know everybody's talking about the Tennessee Titans are going to blow everybody out, but if you look at the games that the Tennessee Titans are playing or around the league, the games are coming down to a field goal. So you better have a guy that's reliable and that can make the kick 50 or 50 plus.
I know I sound like Jared, but Badgley's awful. So I mean, he's terrible. So
I think he made it 6 or 7 in a row. Does that make you a little happy?
In practice, sure.
We talking about practice?
Yeah, we're talking about practice. I know last week was a tough one for the Big Red, but a fun game nonetheless. Who you got tomorrow?
We have Ainsworth, who's a powerhouse. Yeah, they're good. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you what, Chris. Jill Jelnick asked me on her show a few weeks ago my sleeper team this year, and I said Ainsworth.
They're good, man. They're loaded. They got a good coach. They got some transfers that came in, so they're gonna be prime and ready. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down there. We're gonna give it 110%. We're gonna fight. We're gonna claw. We're gonna be physical. We're gonna make plays. Our quarterback's gonna play awesome. Our receivers are gonna go get down. And Coach Sanders is gonna have a smiley face going home and go watch Just Judy. How about that?
I like that. Well, you got to go watch the highlights of the Titans game and then judge Judy.
That's right, and I'll do that.
That's what you got to do. Chris, appreciate it as always, my friend. We'll do it
Appreciate
again
you.
next week. Silly underdog picks next week.
Let's go. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Love you too, Chris. Appreciate it. Chris Sanders joining us here on the show, usually Fridays at 9:30, but I'm off tomorrow, and I wanted to have my weekly talk with Chris Sanders. We'll react to some of those things, but coming up next, I want to talk about Vanderbilt. Their season opener this weekend at First Bank Stadium against Hawaii. Clark Lee had some interesting comments yesterday on Robbie and Rexford. We'll take your calls as well at 615-737-1025. Chase McCabe, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, let's talk Superbook Sports because football season, it is here. And now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook here in Tennessee. They're the most trusted name out of Las Vegas, and right now you can use the promo code CHASE, my name, CHASE, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they'll match your first bet up to $250 simply by using my name, Chase, in the promo code slot. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Just download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Chase promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Just visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
This summer, they are coming back.
You know where you are?
For you.
You're in the jungle, baby.
Guns N' Roses, live. North America 2023. This Saturday night, Geodis Park. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Finally, back in North America. Don't miss Guns N' Roses.
Don't miss a minute of football action while getting up close and personal to the future stars of the PGA Tour. Join Penn Entertainment on site at the Simmons Bank Open, promoting Penn Play and their sports online betting platform. Stop by their tent in the Arctic Tailgate Village during the tournament to learn more and have a chance to win some prizes and giveaways. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline 1-800-899-9789.
Men, this is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. If you're suffering with erectile dysfunction or other sexual health issues, you need to know that there is no one-size-fits-all treatment because everyone's made differently. That's why our urologists and medical providers offer a broader array of treatment options and can even combine or adjust treatments for greater effectiveness. ED can result from aging, low testosterone, prostate issues, underlying medical conditions, and more. And understanding why you have ED is the first step in treating the condition. That's why you need to know your numbers and understand what other factors might be contributing, and then work with an expert to treat it. And that's where we shine. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we have protocols that are effective in nearly 90% of cases, which means we'll likely find the right treatment for you and you can get your sex life back. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices to serve you, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
The suit is in the building. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Appreciate Chris Sanders for joining us. Talk a little wrestling coming up at 10. Kyle Davis of the National Wrestling Alliance will be on their broadcast. They have NWA 75 this weekend and then taping in Nashville Monday and Tuesday for NWA Power. So looking forward to that. But the Vanderbilt Commodores kick off their season. You can hear all of their games on 102.5, 106.3, The Game this year. And if there's a Predators conflict on 94.9, The Fan. But they will start their season Saturday night at First Bank Stadium. I'm going to be there. Very excited to go see the Doors. And obviously stadium construction going on right now. Going to be really cool once they get that done. But nonetheless, hoping to pack that place, because I feel like there's excitement around the Commodores right now. I was at Door Jam on Saturday. I talked to Clark Lee for a little bit. Jared's going to be doing his show out there tomorrow, and he'll talk to Candace Story Lee and Clark Lee about the upcoming season. But you can really feel the buy-in that these players have with what Clark Lee is putting together now going into year 3 as the head coach. He joined Robbie and Rexroad yesterday for the first of his weekly segments that will be every Wednesday at 7:30. And this is a little bit of a long answer, but he talked about the growth of the program and the expectations for this year.
We've made a lot of positive gains on both sides. I thought the O-line really started this. You know, if you go back to last year, going into the spring, that was the position I had the biggest question mark around. I mean, I just wasn't sure how it was going to look, show up. We did not play well on the offensive line in year 1. You know, we struggled to protect the quarterback. We struggled to get a run game going. And so, you know, really concerned about, you know, what that might look like. Again, what I saw through winter and spring a year ago was that group came together, formed an identity of toughness and a connectedness. And I felt like really was a good offensive line in our conference last year. I mean, in terms of us protecting the quarterback, obviously blocking for a 1,000-yard rusher. And, you know, those guys are developing, they're forging bonds, they're coming together, and they're led by A.J. Blazik, and he's done a great job, you know, facilitating that growth. They've carried that forward. You know, that's a good line. And so now you flip to the defensive side and say, hey, we've struggled with our 4-man rush. It got better as the year went on last year. We were able to, in the game against Kentucky, pressuring the quarterback. You know, we were able to shorten downs at times. But that's probably the group in our program from the winter till now that I've seen the most growth. And what I see is, you know, we have length, athleticism, and size. You know, we won't be the biggest. We won't be the most athletic. You know, we won't be the longest front, but we have everything we need there to be really dangerous. I think Coach Larry Black's done a great job of like honing in on the skills that they need to develop to win the point of attack. And so when you talk about, you know, playing against the O-lines in this conference, some of that is obviously God-given and just the gifts that, you know, that our players have, but also, you know, it's about refining skills and what does the takeoff look like? What is our strike points with our hands? What is our pad level? And then from there, it's how are we designing success for them too, and giving them opportunities to move and teaching them the skills of movement also. So not to go too far into the weeds on this, I feel like the defensive line has come a long way. I think we see in the trenches now at Vanderbilt good on good every single day. And so as iron sharpens iron, you know, we feel like we know a little more about the truth of what we have, and we're really excited. Now it's got to all come together for us. And like I said, Saturday won't be perfect, but it'll give us an indication of where we are and where we need to kind of fill in the gaps to keep moving that group forward.
That was Clark Lee yesterday on Robbie and Rexroad. You can check out that entire interview at thegamenashville.com or subscribe to the Robbie and Rexroad podcast. And again, it's all about buy-in for me. And, you know, I listen to what he's saying there and what he's selling. And, you know, you can tell that the players are believing it just as much as he is. And that's what's important. And he's right. It's not going to be perfect on Saturday. There's going to be a lot of things that they can take away from that game and learn from them. They're a 17.5-point favorite at home. And, you know, they don't cover a ton of spreads, but they beat the tar out of Hawaii last year. And so I think they're hoping that they can repeat that performance. They have a really good opportunity to potentially go 4-0 to start the season, which would be huge in their hopes of getting to a bowl game this year. So they will kick off pregame coverage at 5 o'clock here on 102.5 The Game on Saturday. I did want to pass this along. I just saw this come through that former Vols head coach and athletic director Philip Fulmer is recovering from a medical procedure at the UT Medical Center. His family released a statement. Philip underwent a medical procedure Thursday at UT Medical Center. He is alert and in good spirits and will remain at the hospital for a few days. We are thankful for the outstanding care he's receiving. We also appreciate the prayers and concern of so many who have reached out. He is looking forward to cheering on the Vols as they kick off another exciting season. Fulmer, it didn't say what it was, but he's 72 years old, but appears to be in good spirits. So just passing that along and wish Coach nothing but the best. Coming up next, we will talk some pro wrestling, as we like to do here on the program. Kyle Davis, National Wrestling Alliance, he's an announcer for them, also the ring announcer. We will talk about the NWA 75 pay-per-view and the tapings coming up for NWA Power in Nashville Monday and Tuesday. That's all next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
In any work environment, culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is General Manager Sean Ford with Cromwell Media. This month we want to highlight 2 individuals on our team celebrating their anniversary. First, Max Hers is celebrating over 5 years with us on 102.5 The Game. And our president and owner, Bud Walters, is celebrating his 51st year with Cromwell Media. Thanks to you for the community you've built here. If you're looking for a new career, reach out to us at together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
All of us at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game want to recognize our active military, veterans, first responders, and educators with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. Last night, the Nolensville Little League team lost to Team California 5-3. News out of college football, the ACC is considering adding Cal, Stanford, and SMU to the conference. Here's Pete Thamel with more.
Cal, Stanford would come in at a reduced percentage share of ACC revenue. SMU has essentially decided to forego broadcast revenue for 7 years. So this would create a pot of money, and what's being determined right now is how that pot would be divided. And there are 4 dissenting votes currently to add these schools.
Tune in later this evening to 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds look to continue their winning ways after their 3-1 win last night. The Sounds take on the Gwinnett Stripers, the AAA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mays.
Stone and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Rebound and a score.
Make every play perfect.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
We're going to win the game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Nashville,
The suit is in the building.
acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, hour number 2. NWA 75 this weekend in St. Louis, and then they come to Nashville for 2 days of TV tapings, NWA Power. And to talk more about that, we say hello to Kyle Davis. He is an announcer and the ring announcer for NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. Kyle, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I hope everybody's doing fantastic and finding themselves a little less buried than I am currently. We just got back from Rules of Vampire Tour with the Smashing Pumpkins. We have National Wrestling Alliance action going on in between the bands performing. 1 day in between, now St. Louis, then Nashville. I guess it's good to be busy with a career and a job, but at the same time, entertainment takes a lot out of you.
I'm sure it does. And Billy Corgan joined us yesterday and, talked about wrestling and then that he's turning around and going to be back here in the Nashville area in a couple weeks with the Smashing Pumpkins. So I know it keeps you all busy.
Keeps us very busy. And like I said, it's fantastic. I mean, the National Wrestling Alliance, we're about to celebrate our 75th year in existence. There's been ups, there's been downs, but we are back. We're in the modern era with Billy Corgan by our side. Thankfully, the man's a giant wrestling fan, not just a rock star. And when, you or I have a hobby, we can only do so much, but Rockstar's going to rockstar. He bought a professional wrestling company, decided to run with it, and I get to be a part of that. And the Nashville crowds will get to be a part of that, too, as we do a TV taping there on this coming Monday and Tuesday coming up. So I'm really happy to be a part of that because, A, it means I'm not in St. Louis anymore, and that means we had 2 successful pay-per-views. But, B, it's 1 day closer to me getting to hang out with people and having a real life again.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's start with NWA 75, though, a 2-night show in St. Louis, as you mentioned, a stacked card that, of course, is highlighted by a world championship match as Tyrus defends against EC3, which will be awesome. But how excited are you for not only to see these current superstars of the National Wrestling Alliance, but also to celebrate 75 years?
Listen, if I could have a relationship that lasts 75 years in my life, I'd be so damn lucky. But unfortunately, it's not happened so far. So the best I could do is the NWA in my relationship with this brand. 75 years is a long time. Historically, a lot of people are like the National Wrestling Alliance. I remember that from when I was younger in the South. And the crazy thing about the NWA is it is the precursor to, WWE bridged off of it. And then WCW had bridged off it. ECW had bridged off it. So everything kind of, if you go back to history having a place, the National Wrestling Alliance was a giant catalyst for modern professional wrestling. So we have the old mixing with the new. And it's fantastic to see legends that I remember seeing once upon a time. And just, I have moments where I go, I can't believe I just, run my mouth to Ricky Morton like he's one of my buddies backstage. And, we got to work with Flair and all these things. Unfortunately, as time goes on, we all get a little bit older, and, we just lost former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Terry Funk yesterday. And it's just one of those things where in the moment, being a guy who was, for all intents and purposes, a failed professional wrestler, became a broadcaster and ring announcer and a guy who helps run a professional wrestling company, it's really nice to be able to hang out with people that I grew up on, people I respect, and help shape the future of professional wrestling with the young people that come in today.
Kyle Davis, NWA, is with us. As NWA Power will have its TV tapings here in Nashville. NWATix.com is where you can go to get tickets there. But they'll, as he talked about, celebrate 75 years of the National Wrestling Alliance. Kerry Morton is on the card as well. And how cool is it to see, a third-generation superstar? Obviously, his dad, Ricky Morton, had a tremendous Hall of Fame career. But now to see Kerry Morton in the ring, what's that like?
Obnoxious. Kerry Morton runs around, and we were in Australia doing a tour of Australia. And there was just something that happened where it clicked with him, where he just all of a sudden came into his own and said, I'm the future of professional wrestling. I should act like it, to the chagrin of most of us. It's pretty amazing just to see such a young kid. He's been in the wrestling industry about 3 years right now. But, some people are like, I think it might be genetic. There's something in his blood. Pro wrestling is in that kid's blood because of Ricky Morton, part of the Rock and Roll Express throughout the entire Southern Hemisphere back in the day and the rest of the world. Legendary tag team wrestler. His son's running as a junior heavyweight right now, trying to put on a little weight maybe afterwards. We'll see what happens. He's defending the championship at NWA 75 against Colby Carino, another second-generation wrestler. And that's the great thing about the National Wrestling Alliance. We have that legacy. We have the old meets the new. As we like to say, it's where history lives and legends are forged. And then at 75, one of the big opportunities there is the world title will be on the line as Tyrus, a guy who a lot of people might know from Fox News. A big man has decided that he wants to live up to expectations, and he put his title on the line and his career on the line in a bull rope match against EC3, a man who also drew a name for himself in the Nashville area at TNA back in the day. So this one has ramifications for many, 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 many months to come, possibly years to come. And we're hoping everybody can be a part of it. You can't be there live and in person in St. Louis, of course. Order at Fight.tv. Watch it on any streaming device from the comfort of your home or wherever the heck you are. And I'd love to see a couple people in Nashville for the TV tapings at Skyway Studios on Monday and Tuesday coming up right there. It's a little bit different. We're that old school mentality. So if you watch things on TV, sometimes you're like, that's a lot of pyro, that's a lot of production, that's a lot of pomp, that's a lot of circumstance. We are a throwback studio wrestling program, much like you might have tuned in at noon on a Saturday or at 6:05 or anything like that, depending on where you were in the world. It's got a vibe unlike anything else that's going on in professional wrestling today. Whether you call it nostalgia, feel good, whatever it is, we want people to be a part of it. And that is, of course, going around Monday, August 28th and Tuesday, August 29th. Intimate studio setting. You get to see some of the future stars of wrestling today.
In NWA Power in Nashville, Kyle Davis is with us. Now, you're also the ring announcer. I got to do this one time, and it was like one of the coolest things that I've ever gotten to do, standing in the ring and announcing guys before a match. So how much fun are you having with that role?
I stumbled into it. Like I said, I was a failed pro wrestler, and then I became a broadcaster. And then one day they're like, we need somebody to do ring announcing. And so I got thrown to the wolves on that. It's nice. It's a part of the presentation of it, and it really gets people fired up if you do it right. It's also how I end up on stage at Smashing Pumpkins concerts in front of so many freaking people just staring out into the distance of fans, pitching them to go see the wrestling that's going on during the show. I don't know if you ever found this out, but sometimes we all have dreams and hopes and things and aspirations that we want to do with our lives, and they might not work out. And it turns out they don't work out because you're forcing something that you just weren't supposed to do. I truly believe that all of us might have something that we either fight against or are aware of or may not even be aware of, that once we run with that is where we find our success and our contentment. And it turns out I can talk. And what better way to have a career than talking to a microphone and just say things boisterously and loud in front of people. I think you get that. You're in radio.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's nice to have a platform and a forum to be able to make a connection with people. We had a podcast for a while there, Billy Corrigan, myself, and Joe Galley, the other person who helps run the National Wrestling Alliance behind the scenes with me. And we were promoting Smashing Pumpkins albums. And it's just one of those things where every week I realize how ridiculous life is. And all it is because somebody one day went, yeah, you might not be the athletic, you might not be the biggest guy, you might not be the tallest guy, but you could talk, and that's a life right there. So, yeah, the National Wrestling Alliance is a hell of a place. I used to wrestle there back in 2009 and 2010 when it was just a shell of what it is today, in the dark era, as I like to say, where, people might not have realized it existed. And so we're getting that concept and everything of going back. Now that I'm bald and middle-aged, it's very funny to me that sometimes every now and then somebody like, wait a second, you were that guy? So, yeah, NWA has given a bunch of us a home, and Billy Corrigan sees things and talent that some people might not. And to be given a platform to build, to wrestle, to give entertainment to the fans is what we're here for. And I can't wait to be a part of that in St. Louis over the next couple of days and then be in Nashville for our TV tapings on the 28th and 29th.
How important, Kyle, is it that, you talk about that, you look at this card for NWA 75, for instance, and there are a lot of established stars on that card that we've seen, in other promotions for over the years. But then there are some wrestlers that maybe people don't know as well, but to have that balance between the up-and-comers and the established stars as you build a company.
It's super important because you need to have something that people can connect with without even really trying. Something where they see a name and they go, Chris Adonis. I remember him. He was the masterpiece Chris Masters in WWE. Tyrus was in WWE as well. A big Fox News person right there. We have a number of people on the show that have had wrestling experience throughout the entire world over the last 30 years. And that's just getting the foot in the door. It's a gateway of sorts where you're like, you want to taste? This is something. And then once you're there, you might discover, I had no idea these other people were in the world and I want to see them. Like, Matt Cardona is one of the most entertaining people I've ever known, has made a name for himself throughout professional wrestling. But every time somebody gets in the ring with Matt Cardona, that gives somebody else attention that they never would have got if they hadn't gotten in there. Our NWA World Women's Champion, Camille, has been champion for over 800 days now, defends it constantly. Just filmed a movie that I don't think we could really talk about, but people will be seeing that in the very near future. It's so important to have that. I was just at several concerts over the last several days. I never heard of Rival Sons before. It's not my genre. But I went to go see the Smashing Pumpkins, who I work for, and I discovered the Rival Sons. Professional wrestling's just like that, everything. If you can get somebody in the door with something they recognize that they're like, I want to see that, there's a good chance that they might discover something else along the way that gets them there too.
Well, it's going to be awesome. NWA Power at Skyway Studios, Monday, August 28th, Tuesday, August 29th. You can get your tickets, nwatix.com. Kyle, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for doing this, and good luck in St. Louis. We'll see you in Nashville coming up on Monday.
Thank you so much. Keep on doing what you're doing, fans. We hope to see you there. NWATix.com. That's NWATIX.com. And every week, Tuesday, 6:05, you can catch us on YouTube. Go to nationalwrestling.com and the YouTube page right there, and you will be able to see wrestling excitement, wrestling as it's meant to be, every week, 6:05 when you want to see it live, or watch it anytime afterwards.
Awesome. Great stuff. Thanks, Kyle. Kyle Davis joining us from NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. He can talk. That's personality. Got to have that for sure. NWATix.com. Coming up next, we'll talk to Joe Dubin at the bottom of the hour. He's at MTSU practice. We'll check in on that and also just talk some different sports with him. Could we see all three quarterbacks play for the Titans tomorrow? We'll discuss that next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Hey, what's going on? It's Chase McCabe, and I have been telling you about PhD weight loss for a few months now. Dr. Ashley Lucas created this program, and the best part about it is my program is going to be different than your program because we are all different people, and it's tailor-made just for you. I have weekly coaching sessions with Rachel. She keeps me in line and also has adjusted the program as we've gone, and now I'm down 25 pounds since I have been on PhD weight loss. You can do that too, but remember, we're all different, and that's okay. Those weekly one-on-one coaching sessions are important. Customized meal plans. You can use their food, which I like their food. 85% is provided to you if you choose to, or you can use your food, and they will tell you how to do that, and they'll tweak your program as you go along. Right now, check this out. This is the best part of their program. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Go to myphdweightloss.com to learn more. Again, that is myphdweightloss.com.
Hey, it's Joe Rexroad here for FanDuel Sportsbook. Folks, football season is on the way. FanDuel giving you the chance to win all season long, because right now, if you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. You pick a team to win the Super Bowl. Every win that team has, you get bonus bets. You can use those on spreads, player props, over-unders, whatever you want. So visit FanDuel.com/Joe102. Start earning those bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. Again, FanDuel.com/Joe102. Look, I understand that there's a lot of hype about the Detroit Lions. I'm telling everybody, don't go with them. We have the usual suspects out there, the Chiefs, the Niners, Bills. I personally would tell you, go with the Eagles. They're in the weaker conference, and I think they're going to finish the deal this year. You must be 21 years old, present Tennessee, first island room and wager only, $10 deposit required. Refund issued with non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Max bonus $50 less specified otherwise. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Play ball! 94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at Gwinnett.
He gloves, grabs, guns, gets him, and the Sounds win again.
Pre-game at 5:50.
Nashville Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan and the Fan app.
The Suit is in the building.
3-hour lunch, 3-hour lunch, 3-hour lunch.
3 hours. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Will Levis back at practice today, Coach? Do you have a plan for Friday?
No, not yet. We don't have any availability or, any decisions yet. See how he comes out of practice and see how he feels.
Mike Vrabel yesterday on Will Levis and what might happen with him. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Could we see all 3 quarterbacks play tomorrow for the Tennessee Titans? If Will Levis is ready to go, then I think you'll see a majority of the game split between Malik Willis and Will Levis. But is there a possibility that Ryan Tannehill could get a series? We talked to Chris Sanders about this earlier, and he kind of agrees with me that it would be beneficial for Tannehill to go out there for a series. He missed the entire last month of the season last year, play behind this new offensive line. There's new turf at Nissan Stadium. And so there's obviously a lot of things to work through. And he's going to be working with different receivers because you're without Treylon Burks and Kyle Phillips right now. So I see the benefit for Ryan Tannehill to get a series. And he was asked yesterday if he feels like he needs to get a series.
You feel the need to get, do you need a series Friday night, or with your experience having been here all off season, are you good if you don't get on the field during the game Friday night, considering the opener is 2 weeks away?
Yeah, I'm good either way. Excited and happy with how things have progressed for us as an offense over the course of spring and training camp. Guys are coming out and grinding away. Obviously, it's not 100% yet, but we're building each and every day and learning from something each and every day. And whatever Coach Vrabel decides for Friday, I'll be good with.
And when Vrabel was asked about it, I mean, he kind of gave the thought that he's working through it, but maybe it was a possibility. I mean, he didn't completely rule it out. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to happen. Especially if Will Levis is good to go, then it'll probably be Will Levis and Malik Willis splitting the way. Nick, you made a good point earlier, saying, though, if Will Levis can't go, then maybe the likelihood of Tannehill getting a series or two is more likely, after what we saw from Malik Willis last week against Minnesota.
Yeah, and I think also you have to remember the blue and white scrimmage they had this past week gives a little bit more momentum towards starting quarterback like Ryan Tannehill. I know when I played football, when we had an inter-squad scrimmage, it gave me a little bit more momentum of, wanting to go out there in some sort of tune-up game or some sort of preseason game that we always had. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do go and, have Ryan Tannehill strap up the pads and go out there and put a helmet on and throw some balls because, you just mentioned it, the turf, and I'm a big proponent with turf. I'm not a fan of it from time to time, but, in this case, with the type of turf that's in Nissan Stadium now, it's beneficial to weather, especially with the certain types of pellets that are in the ground. It's not a rubber base. It's more of a cork base. So with that being said, it's good to get your feet wet, and no pun intended, on a different, playing field. So with that being said, having Tannehill go out there would be beneficial for not only just the chemistry aspect for the team, but also just the playing field itself.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. The other thing, too, is I mentioned Malik Willis, and he got the whole game basically against Minnesota, and it was very up and down. And, how much does that factor in of, okay, let's maybe see Tannehill for a series and then turn it over to Will Levis if he can go and give him more of an opportunity, because I don't think this backup quarterback job is decided by any means, and it may not be. Mike Vrabel may not officially name a backup. They're just going to keep all three. Paul Kaharski of paulkaharski.com joined Robbie and Rexroad yesterday and kind of gave his thoughts on Malik Willis's performance against Minnesota.
PK, what did you make of Malik Willis, his performance on Saturday against Minnesota, and where the competition currently stands with him and Levis for QB2?
He was bad. I don't understand why people are painting it like he was good. Yeah, Chick dropped 2 passes. The second one wasn't a great throw by any means. He had somebody crossing in the back of the end zone. He threw it behind him when it kind of touchdown. The pass to Nick Westbrook-Akine was inexplicably bad. It was inconsistent. He didn't carry over the stuff from practice very well at all. Yeah, he ran great. Malik Willis at this stage, and I know it's still early, but playing against third-teamers in the fourth quarter of a preseason game should look like very much the best player on the field. And he didn't look very like that to me. I thought it was a step back, and I thought he stayed at that. Didn't bounce back at practice yesterday. Wasn't very good either. So I think given opportunity with Levis out of the picture to kind of seize the day and run with it, he's failed to do that, and that's somewhat disappointing. I sure hope that Levis can play Friday night. Vrabel said he was hopeful. It's quite a mystery what that is beyond lower body. A lot of people are assuming it's the toe. I don't think we should be assuming anything about what it is until we know, and we may not know, which is silly. But I don't feel any better about Malik Willis. I feel a little bit worse than I did going into the Minnesota game.
There you go. He feels a little worse about Malik Willis. How about all of you? I don't know. I'm kind of – he's still young. He's still got to work through stuff. You're not expecting him to be the starter, so at the same time it's not as big of a deal, but it's also a big deal because you saw him last year and he got benched for Josh Dobbs. And Josh Dobbs outplayed him after being in the facility for 5 days, essentially, and took that job. And you hope that you don't have to go to Malik Willis or Will Levis this year, but what if you do? Ryan Tannehill's coming off a pretty major ankle injury, and he has been hurt in the past with the style of play that he has. That it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to have to go to one of those guys. And so, how much more evaluation can Mike Vrabel get out of one preseason game? I don't know, but I also agree with Paul that it's unfortunate for Will Levis that he hasn't been able to really take advantage of the way that Malik Willis has played because of the injury that he's dealing with as well. So, again, could we see all 3 quarterbacks tomorrow against the New England Patriots as the Titans wrap up their preseason schedule. And who knows? I think there's a chance of it, and maybe some of that news will leak out. I know there's a little bit of news out of San Francisco. We saw yesterday that the 49ers announced that Sam Darnold would be the backup for that team, which means Trey Lance is going to be the third. Brock Purdy, of course, the starter. Trey Lance now the third quarterback. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network is reporting that the 49ers are exploring options in trying to trade Trey Lance. That could be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a market for him because somebody's willing to take a shot. But, I mean, the stock of Trey Lance has just plummeted since the 49ers traded up to get him. Third overall? And he's been hurt, and he's barely sniffed the field, and it doesn't look like he's had a great training camp, and obviously hasn't if he's the third quarterback on the depth chart. So really interesting to kind of see where this has all gone with Trey Lance, and now it's looking like that the Niners are going to try and trade him. Very interesting. I wonder where he's going to end up. I mean, there's going to be a team that's going to take a chance and think, oh, he just needs a change of scenery. We can make him better. But I mean, if he's been with Kyle Shanahan and it hadn't gotten better to this point, then I'm not so sure. One team that I think could be interesting is a division rival. What about the Rams? With the uncertainty with Matthew Stafford, and I know they have Stetson Bennett, but do they maybe look at him? Cleveland has waived Kellen Mond, who was one of their quarterbacks. Just saw that come through. But I'd be very curious on Trey Lance and where he ends up landing. But just passing that along. Coming up next, he's going to be in here for me tomorrow, but we'll talk a little high school football, some college football, and some fun with Big Joe Dubin. He'll join us next here on the program. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes, and then there's weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Hey, Tennessee, when you bet on Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town, you get the best reward possible. Cold, hard cash. You bet with your own money, so why accept anything less from your rewards program? With Zen Sports, you earn cash on your bets, cash on your referrals bets, and a welcome bonus in, you guessed it, cash. So stop settling for Vegas rewards when we're in Tennessee. Cash in your old sportsbook for Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
It's time to celebrate this fall and unleash the beast. Monster Brewing proudly presents to you Beast Unleashed. 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, all the adult beverage fun. The Beast is unleashed with great taste, bold familiar flavors, and 6% alcohol. Go wild with Mean Green, White Haze, Peach Perfect, and Scary Berries. Don't fear the Beast. Enjoy Beast Unleashed at your next tailgate or football party. Drink responsibly. Must be 21 and over.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried new Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in 1 wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Hey, did you tune in late? It's okay. It happens. You can subscribe to the Chase McCabe podcast wherever you get your podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, doesn't matter. Rate, subscribe, and review today.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
It is Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, broadcasting from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. You can weigh in on anything on the phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Big Joe Dubin calls in now. He's at MTSU football practice, and Joe, I know you have to just love being out on a football field at practice.
You know what's funny, Chase, is that, you play the Magnum PI theme. That's like my bat signal. Whenever I hear that theme song, I always just get ready to go. So thank you for playing that, buddy. I appreciate you. No, you know what? It feels like 600 degrees up here. But nobody cares. I mean, it's football. I mean, they're going through practice right now, so Alabama's 9 days away. So it feels good. It's good to be up here and be outside and hearing the pads crack and everything else, man.
We were up there a couple weeks ago and had Rick Stockstill on the show and got his thoughts on his team and going into the season, but they weren't really in game prep mode yet. Would you say 9 days out that they've kind of shifted practices into focusing more on the Crimson Tide?
They'll probably tell us no, but you've got to, at least this far. Now camp is pretty much over with. On Sunday, you prepare for Alabama next week. So I think there's some things. Now you start putting in bits and pieces here and there of your offense against Alabama. I think if I'm the coach, and nobody wants me to be the coach, I would have the defense already planning for Alabama. And the unknown for Alabama, though, Chase, is who's going to be the starting quarterback. And I think, to me, as a head coach going to a game versus a team like Alabama, when you don't know who the quarterback's going to be of your opposing team, that's frightening. So I think there's a lot of trepidation when you get ready for a game like this. You just got to go out and practice and be ready to go when the ball kicks off next Saturday down in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, and really looking forward to that. You'll be a part of the broadcast with Chip Walters on 93.3 Classic Hits, so that will be fantastic. Vanderbilt kicks off their season on Saturday over on West End against Hawaii, and I talked to Clark Lee the other day at Door Jam, and you just get the excitement from him, but then anybody in the program just seems excited right now of where this is going, and I think it's all because of the culture that he's built and the buy-in that these players have and the way the schedule falls for them, Joe. I mean, I think they have a really good opportunity to be bowl eligible this year.
Man, we say that every year about Vanderbilt, but, I think this year it's different because I think universally people like Clark Lee and what he's done. And, you throw around, but he's a Vanderbilt guy. I've never subscribed to that. Like, he had to be part of that program to be a head coach, be successful. That's not true. But he's a football coach. You know what I'm saying? He knows football, and he's very relatable to these young men today. So also, you flip it 180, Middle starts against Alabama, Vanderbilt starts against Hawaii, and so you're not playing Alabama game one for Vanderbilt. You're playing Hawaii. You go out there last year, and you pretty much, pushed them around. Now you give it home. So you go out Saturday night, do everything you need to do, get a big win, able to play some backups. I think you start out 1-0, and you're good. And so there's a great opportunity there for Vanderbilt on Saturday night versus Hawaii. And please, let's no more stadium talk about Vanderbilt. Can we just get past all that? I'm not saying you do it, but you get on social media and people are bashing. I'm looking at MTSU Stadium right now. They're redoing their stadium, adding a bunch of stuff during the season. No big deal. Teams do it all the time. It doesn't matter. It's the final product which matters, and you got to get to the final product by construction and everything else to get there. So it's no big deal. But I think it's a great opportunity for Vanderbilt on Saturday night. You got to win this game. You go out and you throw an egg and you lose to Hawaii on game one, man, that is not good. So go out, take care of business, and move on to game two.
Big Joe Dubin is with us. He'll also be a part. You're everywhere, man. You're going to be co-hosting tomorrow with Junie because I'm taking the day off, so I appreciate you doing that. And then you're going to be on Football Frenzy Live on Fox 17 with Jill Jelnick and her crew. What game are you going to be headed out to this week?
We'll be at the Bishop's Cup. Pope John Paul will host Father Ryan. That's always a big deal between the two schools. It's been lopsided the last couple of years in favor of Pope John Paul, but Ryan and Coach Brian Rector, man, they got a good football team. So there'll be a nice big crowd tomorrow night out in Hendersonville for that. So always looking forward to that with one of my favorite coaches, Brian Rector, who's been at Ryan now, I think, 6-7 years. So he's got a pretty good ball club over there. So it'll be a lot of fun. That's a great atmosphere at Pope John Paul for these games versus Ryan, the Bishop's Cup when they're over there. It'll be a packed house, a lot of fun. Heck, all these kids grew up together in the church. Most of them did. So it's a lot of bragging rights involved tomorrow night, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Pope John Paul coming off a loss to East Nashville in week one, so kind of looking for some revenge. Speaking of week one, I feel like there were a few surprises on the schedule. CPA eking one out over Brentwood Academy, which was played on Saturday. Great football game. You had Pearl Cone that beat NBA. What were some kind of things that stood out to you from week one of high school football?
Well, Brentwood Academy had that game won. And then, you always hear coaches saying, you always roll your eyes, play into the clock says 0. Well, CPA did. I mean, they played to the clock went to 0. They came back and beat Brentwood Academy. That was a huge one. I love Pearl Cone beating NBA. I love Tony Bernetti over at Pearl Cone. I've told you this for years. I love every Metro school because I know what they have to go through to get players, to keep them out there, to keep them going. I know what these coaches do. We've talked about this ad nauseum, Chase, about these high school football coaches in Metro. I mean, they're more. I mean, they're father figures. They're getting kids to and fro practice, to jobs, and everything else. So to see Tony Bernetti and Pearl Cone beat NBA, I love it. I love when a Metro school can knock down a private school any day of the week. So that was great.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that now we move on to week number 2. You mentioned that you'll be at the Bishop's Cup, but you look at some of the games that are on the schedule this week. Now Pearl Cone's got to play CPA, so CPA coming off that huge win over BA, Pearl Cone with that huge win over MBA, and now they get to turn around and do it again.
Well, I love that because in the grand scheme of things, I know you want to win, but if Pearl loses CPA, it doesn't matter because it's not a region game. So when I played those games in region district were called cake games because that's how you build the cake. You win every game in the region, you build that cake. Games out of region, we call those the icing games. Those are just icing you put on top of the cake. You can't have really good icing if you don't have the cake. That makes sense. So you build the cake, you make it good, and you go out and win. I mean, every game's important, but if they lose, it's not the end of the world for either team in this because it's not a region game. But you want to go out and get the win. But I love what Tony Bernetti's doing over at Pearl Cone and have for years. And, one of our favorite coaches was Jamal Stewart at East. Mm-hmm. He's out at Centennial. They got a big game tomorrow night versus Summit. Brian Coleman, great football coach at Summit High School. That's a big game tomorrow night down at Williamson County. So a lot of good games for week 2.
Yeah, I mean, and you already got like some rivalry games like Cheatham County at Harpeth that in week 2, Page and Independence. I mean, it's kind of fun to see that early on in the season.
Yeah, our boy Max will be on that Page and Independence game tomorrow night. Independence, they got beat by Oakland last week, 34-14, but they played well. I mean, they didn't quit. They didn't get destroyed. They lost the game. I understand that, but they played well in competing with, one of the best teams in the country. And speaking of Oakland, they got to go to Indianapolis tomorrow night and take on basically the Oakland of Indiana tomorrow night. A team that's won 3 straight championships in the higher classification up there. So it's going to be a big test for Oakland tomorrow night, about 5 hours north of us up in Indianapolis.
I'm over here on the west side, and Hillwood High School was a staple for so long. I'm still getting used to James Lawson, the new high school, moving out into Bellevue as they made their debut or re-debut, whatever you want to call it, last week. But How kind of crazy is it to see, a program like Hillwood, even though it's still there, but now it's under a different name and a new school?
I love it. I mean, it was time to build a new school out there, and a lot of people wanted to name it after, Bellevue. Bellevue High School has its own history.
Yep.
So keep that own history. It's like if they build a high school at Hermitage and you want to call it DuPont. DuPont has its own history. It's, sadly it's gone, but that's a history. Hillwood now is one for the ages. Bellevue High School is one for the ages. So let these kids create new memories and a new everything at Lawson High School. So I think it's great, and the facilities are second to none. And that's something else, which, here I go. I'm getting my soapbox chaser. These schools in Metro, it's hard to compete against these county schools when you go out and see their facilities. And I'm talking not just football. I mean, you're talking softball places, baseball. Some of these schools got indoor batting cages.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these high schools in Metro don't have anything. So that's why, I'll always shoot my horn for Metro when they do good and get things done. And so it's good to see Lawson with those facilities and stepping it up. Now I hope we can do that for other schools around Metro.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you on the TV on Fox 17 tomorrow, starting at 9:30 with Jill and everybody involved with that. You're going to be in for me tomorrow with Junie Riddle. What exciting things do you have planned for this show?
Well, we have he's on every station, just pay him. But Jim Wyatt's going to come on tomorrow. But we just don't throw the normal, like, hey, Jim, what's good? Tannehill going to play? We have fun with Jim. So he'll come on tomorrow because they play the Patriots tomorrow night. Andrew Allegretto will come on at 10:15 to talk about Vandy, Hawaii. I tried to reach out and get the Hawaii football coach on, but I was told that he had done so many interviews regarding the fires on Maui that he wanted just to concentrate on football. They're already in town. They arrived in town yesterday or late Tuesday evening, and just want to concentrate on football. And I said, that's no problem. And I completely understand that, what's going on. So we'll have that tomorrow, plus fun and games and all the chicanery you can contain in a 1-2 hour show, Chase.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, and appreciate you doing it and looking forward to it. Hard to believe, too, that Tennessee's going to be in town in a week at Nissan Stadium playing Virginia. College football's here, man. I'm excited.
Well, we talked about that Tennessee-Virginia game, same way we talked about Vanderbilt, Hawaii. I mean, Tennessee's a 30-point favorite in that game. Got to win that game. I mean, that's a huge – we've always said, for coaches, I tell you, what's the biggest game on your schedule? The next one, right? So this is the biggest game on Tennessee's schedule for 2023 because it's the next game. But Tennessee needs to go out next Saturday at Nissan Stadium and just, beat the tar out of Virginia 56-0, whatever. Just beat them good, beat them solid, and, kind of get the ball rolling there. Again, imagine losing that game with all the hype going into your season. Not good. But I think Tennessee will handle Virginia with no problem.
Joe, I've enjoyed this and hearing the whistles and the pads popping in the background. So cool. Enjoy the rest of MTSU practice, and thanks for joining me.
That's actually construction, Chase, but I'm glad you're listening in the background. Are we done? Is this it? Are we done?
This is it.
I blocked off brunch for this. Okay. All right. That's good, man.
Well,
That's fine.
Go get some scones.
I'll do that. All right, brother. See you later.
See ya. Big Joe Dupin joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Big Joe on the Go. And, again, he'll be in with Junie Riddle tomorrow, filling in for me as I take a little bit of a personal day. But looking forward to that. And, like I said, hearing those whistles in the background there at MTSU as they'll kick off their season against Alabama in a week. And as we announced a few weeks ago when we were in Murfreesboro at MTSU practice, you can hear their games on 93.3 Classic Hits. That'll be starting at 5:30 on September 2nd, the week 1 of college football. This is week 0 of college football. We'll kind of look at the schedule coming up next of week 0 because there are a handful of games of intrigue for sure as they get things kicked off. We'll do that next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
It is football time, whether it's college or pro. Superbook Sports is the place to be on the gridiron, and now's your time to place your preseason bets with Superbook. They're the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use my promo code CHASE to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they'll match your first bet up to $250 with the promo code CHASE, C-H-A-S-E. That's my name. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who's your pick for MVP? And which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. It is that simple. And like I said, you got college, you got pro, you got baseball, which is on the final stretch as well. You can get futures for hockey, basketball. It doesn't matter. Just download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Chase promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance all season long with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
312 Pizza Company is a proud sponsor of Nashville Sounds Baseball on 102.5 The Game.
If you compare a diamond from Genesis Diamonds to one you find somewhere else, one thing will always stand out. The Genesis diamond is, well, prettier and more brilliant.
We will show you why our diamond's light performance is significantly greater than things you can get elsewhere.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
Not just because of the color and the clarity, but because of things a certificate can't tell you. Because of the characteristics, the personality, the material.
It's the extra step in quality control that comes from an owner obsessed with perfection.
Our owner is incredibly picky when he buys diamonds, searching through hundreds just to get a handful. You will not see diamonds that have the fire at your average mall store or chain store or smaller independent because they don't have the access worldwide like Genesis Diamonds does. Our diamond's light performance, character, and explosive brilliance is bar none the best your money can buy.
Don't compromise with a diamond that just looks good on paper. Get a diamond that reflects your love in the best light possible.
This diamond has to be spectacular.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Jared. I want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hello, whoever it is going to be.
You want to weigh in on anything that we're talking about on today's show? Hit us up on our phone and text line at 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, Nashville's best deal of the week is for Bavarian Beer House at Opry Mills. Bavarian Beer House, Nashville's only authentic German beer hall, is a place full of fun, food, music, and most importantly, beer. I do love beer. Enjoy traditional German bratwurst, schnitzel, giant pretzels, and more. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals now to get a $50 gift card for just $25 to Bavarian Beer House while supplies last. Chase McCabe here with you on this Thursday. Appreciate Big Joe for joining us. Excuse me. Week 0 of college football coming up. But first, I just discovered this, and I wish I had seen it before the show. But there's a very interesting article on ESPN.com by Stephen Holder that came out today, and it says, amid gambling violations, NFL players debate the betting policy. And he talked to 53 NFL players, which is a full roster worth, about the prevalence of sports betting and whether players fully understand the NFL gambling policy. One player is quoted in saying, "You're telling me that if I walk 10 feet from the facility's door, it doesn't matter anymore. I just think that's kind of dumb. It's pointless. I don't see how that's helping anything." And they basically have talked about a lot of the policies. They want to see them updated because, as the NFL has said, the policies that are in place have been in place for a long time and were put in place before you had apps that you could bet on. I mean, Nicholas Petit-Frere is a prime example. If he's been suspended for 6 games because he didn't bet on the NFL, but he bet on something else from the team facility on his phone. And they kind of look at that as, why is that a thing? And the NFL is saying, well, you know, you don't need to be betting on things while you're at work. Well, I mean, these guys are in the facility or on a team bus or hotel or what have you a lot. And again, my thing is, as long as you're not betting on the NFL, I totally understand that. But if you want to bet on your college team or NBA or what have you, then I don't have an issue, as long as you're, again, not betting on the NFL. So it's an interesting read. Definitely check it out, ESPN.com. Again, Stephen Holder writing it. And there's a section, how prevalent is sports gambling among NFL players? 21 players said betting on the other sports is either prevalent or some teammates bet on other sports. 17 said they weren't sure. 10 said it's either not prevalent or no teammates bet on other sports. And 5 didn't directly answer the question. So that's the survey results. How well do NFL players understand the league policy? One player says, I have no problem saying that I didn't understand it a year ago. One player said, who that reflects, I don't know, but I was under the assumption that we could gamble on anything except the NFL anytime, any place. I found out this year that's obviously not the case. Fortunately, I'm not a betting man. And also says 26 of the players interviewed believe players understand the league policy. 25 said they do not. And 2 said the players should know if they don't. So it sounds like half the players that they surveyed don't understand this policy. That's a problem. They gotta look at that. So again, you can check it out, ESPN.com, Stephen Holder. Week 0 college football. Speaking of wagering, if you want to do so, not a huge slate, but an interesting one. We talked about Vanderbilt hosting Hawaii here in Nashville, a 6:30 kick, 5 o'clock pregame on 102.5 The Game at First Bank Stadium. Also have in Dublin, Notre Dame playing Navy as they'll play in Ireland. Notre Dame a 20.5-point favorite over Navy. And Vandy's a 17.5-point favorite, by the way. So that should be an interesting one as Notre Dame kicks off their season in Dublin. You also got UTEP, Jacksonville State, UMass and New Mexico State, Ohio, San Diego State. San Jose State will play at USC. So a little Pac-12 action. RIP to the Pac-12 is USC, a 31-point favorite at the Coliseum against San Jose State, and then Florida International and La Tech. That is your week 0 in D1. And then coming up Thursday, that's when things really get underway. Wake Forest is playing. Week 1's not a great schedule. Florida, Utah should be interesting. Utah is a 4.5-point favorite in Salt Lake. So that one's, I guess, interesting. Nebraska, Minnesota could be an interesting one out of the Big Ten. With Minnesota, a 7.5-point favorite. You got, that's all Thursday. And then Friday, Michigan State's in action, Louisville, Georgia Tech. in the ACC, Stanford and Hawaii, and then it all is all for real. Virginia and Tennessee here in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. Tennessee a 28-point favorite. So hard to believe college football is here. I'm excited that it's here. I think it's going to be a fun year around these parts, whether we're talking about Tennessee and them trying to replicate what they did last year, or Vanderbilt. Certainly going to be fun to see what happens in college football. Looking forward to tomorrow, Titans preseason game number 3. We'll see if we end up seeing Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis for that matter, or is it once again going to be the Malik Willis show if Levis is unable to go? Those questions will probably be answered throughout the day tomorrow for what's going to happen with the Titans in that sense. I would assume Harold Landry is going to get some playing time. That's kind of been indicated by both him and Mike Vrabel since he missed the entire season last year. But we'll keep you updated on all of that. I'm going to take the day off, but as mentioned, Big Joe Dubin, Junie Riddle will be in here tomorrow for me as they'll get you covered for the weekend and set up for the Titans game. That'll do it for me today. Have a great weekend. Coming up next, it's Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace as they continue to talk what's going on with the Titans and who might play and who might not. Stay tuned. That's next on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Day we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source